I personally came out of the homosexual lifestyle.
And we're just saying that if you want to change, there is a way to do it.
I spent a lot of time thinking, how did I believe that?
In Jesus' name.
You have subsequently become friends with Julie Rogers, and I presume others of your interview subjects from the documentary. Is there a psychological characteristic in these folks that seems common based on what they went through that you observe?
No, in short, I would say these people are individuals, and everyone that goes through this is an individual, and I've experienced all types of personality types and reasons that people have gone into the world and out of the world. And I think the reason I say that is I think people sometimes outside of this world look at it as a niche world, a group of people who are silly, kooky, have crazy beliefs. And my experience actually is that this world is filled with people who are often quite smart, who are trying to do the right thing, but are products of homophobic and transphobic communities and cultures that have taught them to hate themselves. And for former leaders, again, that gets internalized, and the motivation becomes, how can I change and how can I help others change? So I guess maybe the common thing, and then for someone like Julie, just to say, you know, Julie's also was trying to do the right thing. And she was trying to be good, quote unquote. That's how she described it in the film, which kept her participating in something that traumatized her, that completely traumatized her. And Julie's story in our film is the story of a survivor who really experienced this world from the point of view of a participant. We return to that throughout the film to really ground the film in the reality that no matter the good intentions of leadership, no matter some of the complexities that I mentioned, the ultimate result of this is pain and harm. So I think, and that's really manifest in Julie's story. So I think the commonality that I've found in spending time in this world is not so much within the individuals, but more within the environments that they're coming from. Because as long as a larger culture of homophobia and transphobia exists, some form of conversion therapy is going to happen. Some manifestation of this will continue. So that is one of the most important underlying messages of our film. So I think I'll leave it at that.
Final question. Conversion therapy is still legal and thereby potentially available in 30 states. What can the average citizen do to keep pushing against this heinous practice? And in their potential for banning the practice, is there a potential for banning the practice at a federal level?
So a few things. One, when you see a ban passed in your state, in your town, that's only for licensed practitioners, generally practicing with minors. And we need to pass those bans, and we're working with the major national organizations that are fighting for those bans. That includes the Trevor Project, National Center for Lesbian Rights Born Perfect campaign, Police PFLAG, and GLAAD. One thing you can do, sign up for their email alerts, pay attention to all the ways in which they're working potentially in your state to pass a ban, and support what they're doing, because it's crucial work. But we also know that the majority of conversion therapy actually happens within religious organizations, on religious campuses, in Christian ministries, which are like Christian nonprofits, in churches, often practiced by a pastor or some kind of religious leader, acting as a pseudo-counselor, professing and pushing forth the same outdated, disproven, harmful psychological beliefs you might hear in a conversion therapist's office that's licensed, but just in a spiritual or religious space. And I say all that because any ban that you see and the bans that you refer to, those bans do not stop conversion therapy there. Religious freedom protections in our country are very strong. So where conversion therapy happens most, the bans can't touch. So that means we have to change hearts and minds. That is the way this ends in any country that has those type of protections. And that's true in the US and also in many countries around the world. So what can you do? One, don't assume this isn't happening where you are and where you live. Something I say often is if you go to a church and you're like, they don't practice conversion therapy here, go to your pastor and say, hey, come out against conversion therapy and come out in favor of LGBTQ rights and dignity. And if that pastor is hesitant, what does that tell you? That tells you that if a gay or trans child comes to the leadership of that church, they're going to get really confusing messages, in the best case. And in the worst case, they're going to get some version of, you should change and here's why. They will seek out help, or they will be directed to help, and help comes in the form of conversion therapy through these ministries, through, certain colleges, through, so on and so forth. So that's one thing you can do. And I think the other thing that you can do, and I'm not just saying this to promote our film, which I really do believe in, but I really believe this helps, is try to share the news of this film. It's the first major documentary about conversion therapy in the past few decades. You might assume no one in your world, be it your social media world, your family, has gone through this in some way, but the numbers say otherwise. The numbers say otherwise. There is a very good chance someone in your world has been touched by this. And it's only through conversation, getting this film into the spaces where it happens most, and us changing hearts and minds, this is going to end. So I really hope people share about the film too.
This is Patrick McDonald for HollywoodChicago.com. Copyright 2021.